So we don't really have too much plan either, and we actually don't know how we're going to split up this initial talk about it. But
you can totally wing it. It's cool.
Yeah, we'll just wing it. So let's get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so our idea is called getcontact.info. So it's our name and our site, getcontact.info. And what it does is it allows you to just take QR codes and serve basically V cards via QR codes. So the typical use case is printing it on business cards. After you sign up on our website and upload or written your information, then whoever takes your business card can then take their mobile phone, scan the card, and just download a V card directly to their phone. And there's a whole bunch of kind of metadata that you can pull off that, and I'll let you.
Yeah. So I mean, we see this as a bridge to allow people to exchange information and do it in not in an invasive way. So by printing QR codes that you can specify with data like your name, your location, your email addresses, things associated with, like, let's say a specific a role that you're having at a company, and then your personal information, you could have two separate V cards and two separate QR codes that are related. So let's say you have a business card and you want to put a QR code that's related to your business. All you do is put it on there, and when you're going to conferences or just meeting people in general, you could pass them this QR code and they can scan it on the spot. It's not invasive. You don't feel awkward by taking a picture of somebody that you don't know yet. And all this information is brought up onto your mobile phone, and then you just click download, and all that information downloads into your contact list, and you can access that information.
So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, well, I've heard of Bump, right? Why do we need business cards anymore? And I started another business earlier, and I went to some conventions, and what I found was that business cards really aren't something that we're going to get rid of anytime soon, because just in terms of our culture, giving someone a business card is kind of a sign, a vote of confidence. I'm interested in doing business with you, and so it's a way to get information, but it's also just kind of a ritual that we do. And once you get those business cards, you make those contacts at the conventions. It might be that you get a call from someone that you met, and you want to follow up with them. So I went to a convention, I got a couple of business cards, and I got some calls later, but they didn't show up as anyone in my contact list on my phone. They were just numbers that I got, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick them up, if they were telemarketers or if they're someone important. And the issue with that was just I didn't have time to sit down and type in all the information to my phone. Data entry in the phone is really difficult. But if I had the V cards, if I had the QR code, I could scan it. Just even that night when I came back to my hotel room, I could scan it, have that information in there, and when someone calls me, I would have all the benefits of an address book that I took the time to fill out. I'd have their photo, the phone numbers that are tied to them, their email addresses, their business name, all of that.
Right, exactly. And so we just want to make it easier for these services like Bump and Shape, where you can exchange contact information with people. You need to be there on the spot with the person doing the actual interaction with them. This way, we'd be able to aggregate all the information from that day at the conference and put it in a place where you can reference back to that. And the important part about it is collecting metadata. So obviously, when a person scans the QR code, because it's so dynamic on their mobile phone, we're going to pull their geolocation. So we say, oh, you met this person and you scanned their QR code at Parasoma, and you met them at ideakick, and so that's how you know them. You scanned it on this day, and these are the things that you talked about when you can edit in your notes and you take annotation. And by doing that, you have a better conception of who the person is, and when you potentially want to do business with them or engage with them in the future, you know exactly what to talk about, so you don't get caught off guard.
Yeah, exactly. Like you might meet someone, and you might not talk to them for a couple of weeks, or you might not have a follow up, and then they contact you out of the blue, and you just need to jog your memory. Where did I meet them? Who are they? You can look back at the geolocation data and figure out where it was, modify that data if it's incorrect, and figure out exactly who that person is.
And so we're live right now. We're kind of in alpha.
It's like an alpha.
Yeah.
We have
Pretend I didn't hear that.
No, we have like no users right now. So you guys can be the first if you guys want.
Yeah.
We're here to help with
please
that.
Be the first, yeah. And you can access that all at alpha.getcontact.info, and you can just register and sign up for your own V cards. And we really appreciate any feedback. Obviously, that's why we're here. And we have a feedback tab so that you can click it.
So I got to jump right in here because I actually used to work with a company. You guys might have heard of it. It's called Dub. It was actually an early competitor to Bump. It's funny because a lot of the ideas you guys just mentioned were stuff that we talked about too. And I actually demoed this company at SF New Tech. This is 2 years ago, or at least a year and a half ago. And I got a question at the end of the thing was like, well, do you think this is the end of the business card? Because like they've kind of been around for like 200 years.
Right.
And like everybody in the company was like trying to advocate, yeah, we're going after the business and we're going to crush it. I was like, dude, you're not going to get rid of an institution that's been around for 200 years with the, you know, blink of an eye. It's just not going to happen that way. Like people, it's an ingrained social behavior. Like, you know, this is what people do. And I made the point also, it's like, you know, anyone that has an iPhone can attest, like the battery life ain't that sweet. You know, I mean, like, you know, God forbid you're sitting there and you're out of battery. You know, particularly for like a convention or conference or stuff like that. There's still utility for having an analog device. So like, I totally think your thinking is spot on that. But if you could use that analog device, the business card or the QR code or whatever it is, to get digital information and timestamp it, geo-stamp it, whatever all that stuff is, which by the way, they were actually doing that originally. I don't know if they're still in that space. They've kind of gotten away from it, I think. But we really thought at the time like that was all going to be pretty cool. The one thing I would say with that is that like there are some fairly entrenched interests on this. Like there are people that swear by Google Contacts. Why? I don't know, but they do. There's people that swear by like their Yahoo contact list. And certainly like Apple's been pretty interested in this with the kind of evolutionary integration with Facebook and contacts. So you know, what I would want to do, like, I guess my feedback is, you might want to look at sort of how can you kind of play nice with all those aspects as opposed to having to compete with them. Because if you're in a position of having to compete with Facebook and compete with Apple and compete with Google too, like that's kind of picking a lot of fights all at once, which is probably not the best way to go. Like it might be better to do that like kind of co-opetition thing. So I would figure out like how the thing might work with all those things too.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was definitely something that we thought about. I mean, if you open up, you know, any OS that you get right now is going to come with some kind of address book management. And what's a little bit different about this site is, you know, whereas your address books are about managing your contacts, when you print the QR code on your business card, it's not just about, you know, you being able to manage people that you scan, but it's a way to make your information kind of just more accessible. So it's a, you know, it's a bridge basically between, yeah, your analog business card and digitizing that information. And what's nice about the QR codes is they're 2D, and I don't know if you guys are really familiar with them, but they're 2D, they're pretty robust. If you scratch them, they're still scannable. What's nice about it is you don't really need like a high-tech scanner. So like I have an iPhone 3G, and you know this could scan it, so could a BlackBerry, so could any Android phone. You don't need the iPhone 4. It doesn't have to be super high res. And there's a whole bunch of like applications that create QR code scanning programs already that are free. And so when we launch this, or you know, our hope is not to make you download our app, but you can just use any app that you want that's already on the market, that's accessible to.
I have two questions. One is, do you guys produce your own business cards? And the second is all the information in the D card, or does it require the use of your website?
So right now we don't print the business cards for you. We're looking at potentially doing partnerships with, I don't know, Vistaprint or somebody like that to create a template that people can use. But to answer your second question, when people register online, they have to input their information directly on the web interface. I mean, you could obviously do it on your mobile phone as well, but it's not specifically created for the mobile phone. It's not an application, so it's cross-platform. You can use it on any mobile phone, and you can access this data. But you still need to input all your information in there so the person can retrieve that information. Anything you put in there, including a picture, is recorded there.
Yeah, so like you go on the site right now and you enter your information, you create like a new V-card object, and then we generate a QR code for you. And we also give you like custom paths or custom like nicknames. So if you can't scan it, you can just say, oh, my information is Get Connect Info, this is my username. And then someone could go on there and download it, so they don't even need to scan it. But yeah, you enter your information, you get a QR code, and then you could use that with Vistaprint or whichever printer you want, and just make sure you print that QR code on there. And right now, it's not a mobile site for the most part. It's when you're actually entering the data, it's for your desktop. And part of that is just we didn't have the resources to make a mobile site and a desktop site. But we also think that most of the interaction is just going to be, for the mobile at least, it's going to be actually retrieving the data. So you would just get the business card, scan it, and then for that portion, that getting page, that's basically mobile formatted, and you can download it to your phone or email it to your email address on your phone.
Some of the other features that we do have, you can request and accept other users that want to connect with you on the desktop platform, so that you're able to track that and you can see the activity data on that, and you can see what people are getting you, so that you can track it exactly.
So if I understand it, though, you're expecting individual people to print their own cue card, QR code onto their business cards.
Exactly.
But I mean, 99% of business cards basically are issued by the company.
Right.
It would be nice if the company could basically make an arrangement that says, we need to print up a new batch of business cards and somehow interact with you guys to
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Together
That's
somehow.
one of the ways
Or
that we definitely want to modernize
Stickers
it.
maybe to add on to old
I
business
like
cards.
stickers actually.
Stickers, yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I mean, there's a bunch of different mediums.
It'd be a lot
that
of
we
work
use,
to
like
fit that as a sticker to
t-shirts,
every
you
card
can
you
put
have.
Yeah, that's true.
But now you've created a new industry. There's going to be people that are like, hey, we'll add the stickers to all your cards.
All right.
Unfortunately, that is time. But if you want to follow up on this idea, it's going to be online.
It's out
And
there.
if you guys want to check out SF New Tech from a year and a half ago, I had a few thoughts on this.
Okay.
Uh,